Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlotte Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Mariam Gunavijaya. We take a look at your top stories for tonight first.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
President directs Treasury to increase fertilizer subsidy for farmers to 25,000 rupees per hectare. Greek bomb transaction back to the fore. 5, including Cabral, summoned. Vehicles parked at Goldface assigned for essential services. Revelations on the purchase of 16 vehicles by President's office in 2022. Chandrika meets the Executive Council of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party in Horagolla. Kamindu Mendes sets world record.
Risk taken and he's...
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
We start off with a look at some breaking news. The government has officially reinstated the previous visa issuance system effective midnight today. Minister of Public Security Vijitha Herat says that the government has taken steps in the past 24 hours to address the visa issuance issues that have arisen. Accordingly, effective midnight today, that is the 26th, people will once again be able to obtain visas issued under the previous system. The government has also initiated an immediate audit to examine the irregularities related to the service provided to VFS. This audit will thoroughly investigate the discrepancies and appropriate legal action will be taken as required.
President Kumara Dissanayake has directed the Treasury to increase the fertilizer subsidy for paddy farmers from 15,000 rupees per hectare to 25,000 rupees per hectare for the 2024-2025 Maha season. This increase in subsidy will come into effect from the 1st of October. In addition, the President has also directed the Treasury to implement a fuel subsidy for the fishing community. The subsidy for the fishermen will also be directly deposited into their bank accounts.
Meanwhile, President Kumara Dissanayake has announced plans to establish a committee tasked with approving foreign aid projects within 3 months with the aim of accelerating their execution. He expressed these views during a meeting held today with officials from the Ministry of Power and Energy.
President Kumara Dissanayake highlighted the importance of expediting projects financed by the Asian Development Bank and other foreign loans. He underscored the urgency of accelerating rural development projects and swiftly implementing a system to ensure funds are directed to villages, noting that this approach would rapidly strengthen the rural economy. He expressed confidence in the vital role that government officials play in these efforts and emphasized his expectations that all will work with dedication to achieve these goals. Officials from the Ministry of Power and Energy informed President Kumara Dissanayake that the country currently has sufficient fuel reserves to meet consumption needs. The President stressed the importance of maintaining these reserves to ensure uninterrupted fuel availability for the public and urged officials to efficiently plan for fuel procurement for the upcoming year. The President further assured his full support in facilitating these efforts. During the meeting, President Dissanayake directed them to devise a plan for distributing solar panels received through Indian aid to 800 Peruvians. He emphasized the need for a clear roadmap from the ministry to ensure smooth implementation of this initiative.
The World Bank Group has extended its warm congratulations to President Kumara Dissanayake.
Vice President for the South Asia region of the World Bank, Martin Reiser, and Vice President for the Asia Pacific region of the International Finance Corporation, Ricardo Pulitti, expressed the organization's commitment to supporting Sri Lanka's economic recovery and development. The letter, while recognizing that the country's economic reset requires the state continued attention, states that opportunities for growth, prosperity and development are equally significant.
Meanwhile, US Senator Ben Cardin has commended Sri Lanka's presidential election and praised Sri Lanka's commitment to democracy. US Senator Ben Cardin, chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, issued a statement regarding Sri Lanka's 2024 presidential election, praising the peaceful exercise of democratic rights by millions of Sri Lankans. Senator Cardin said millions of Sri Lankans peacefully exercised their democratic right in the weekend's presidential election, demonstrating a deep and meaningful commitment to shaping their country's path forward. Senator Cardin highlighted the significant challenges ahead for Sri Lanka's new administration. These include the devastating man-made 2022 economic crisis and advancing genuine progress in governance, anti-corruption, human rights and accountability for past injustices. Senator Cardin affirmed that the United States remains committed to support the people of Sri Lanka in their pursuit of an inclusive, just, democratic and economically sustainable future. The 2022 economic crisis in Sri Lanka was one of the most severe in the country's history, marked by several critical events and factors. Sri Lanka's foreign currency reserves plummeted by 99% from 2019 levels, severely limiting the country's ability to import essential goods like fuel, food and medicine. The country experienced soaring inflation. This led to widespread shortages of basic necessities including fuel, which caused long queues and significant disruptions to daily life. Massive protests erupted across the country demanding the resignation of then-President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. In response, the president resigned and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe took over as acting president and thereafter president.
Colombo High Court Judge Navaratna Marasinghe today issued an order to summon 5 people, including former Central Bank Governor Ajit Nivad Cabral, to appear in court on the 10th of October in a case filed over the Greek bond deal. The Bribery Commission had filed this case alleging that the government incurred a loss of over 184 million rupees by purchasing treasury bills issued by the Greek government during a period of severe economic crisis in Greece. The commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption had initially filed action at the Colombo High Court over the Greek bond scam. However, the accused were released due to a technical deficiency in the action filed by the Director General of the Bribery Commission. However, subsequently fresh action was filed against the accused on the 21st of August. Summons were issued today on the accused former Central Bank Governor Ajit Nivad Cabral, former Deputy Governor Dharmasena Dheerasinghe, Don Vasanta Ananda Silva, Chandraseri Jayasinghe Pandita Sirivardhana and M.A. Karunaratna.
The government says that the vehicles parked in various locations around Colombo, including golfways, have been assigned for essential services.
Private Secretary to the President Ananda Vijaypala visited the site where the vehicles were parked at golfways.
On various
occasions, the previous government distributed a significant number of luxury vehicles, particularly among their friends, after having created positions and appointing them as advisors. Many vehicles had been distributed. Those are the vehicles that have been parked at various locations now. As per the advice of the President, we are securing these vehicles and we have assigned police officers to protect them. These are state assets, vehicles purchased using taxpayers' money. This is the money of the people. It is our duty to protect them. We will review all of this and create an inventory of these vehicles. We are formulating a plan to assign these vehicles for essential services. There are no ambulances. Officials in the education sector don't have vehicles. Our police officers are suffering on the street without vehicles. We have decided to immediately distribute these vehicles to these sectors.
Meanwhile, it was also revealed that 16 vehicles were brought to the President's office in 2022, despite a ban on the import of vehicles being in effect.
At a time when the people of this country were banned from importing vehicles since 2020, the Presidential Secretariat had acquired 16 new vehicles in the year 2022. There are 82 motorcycles among these, 833 vehicles. In addition, we have identified 740 of those as cars. Out of that, 29 vehicles are currently missing. Regarding the missing vehicles, we will inform the Criminal Investigations Department regarding the missing vehicles and take immediate action. A group of parents of students who were aggrieved by the examination paper issue of the Grade 5 scholarship exam submitted a petition to the Human Rights Commission today.
According to the complaints received regarding the scholarship exam paper incident, an investigation is already underway. Accordingly, the Commissioner General of Examinations and the Secretary of the Ministry of Education were called before the Human Rights Commission today. Ministry officials appeared for them, and a group of parents of aggrieved children who came to the location today presented another petition to the Human Rights Commission demanding justice for their children.
It was stated on behalf of the Commissioner General of Examinations that these investigations have been handed over to the Criminal Investigation Department. They are working to complete the investigations as soon as possible. It was the opinion of the Deputy Commissioner who represented the Commissioner General of Examinations. Also today we submitted a request to the Human Rights Commission to summon the Criminal Investigation Department and inquire on the progress of the investigation. Not only that, we asked for swift action to be taken regarding this issue.
The examination department is always trying to address this by presenting 3 questions. Today we showed the commission that a dozen questions were leaked, with strong evidence that 8 of these questions had been leaked. The commissioner admitted opposition. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya has instructed education officials to resolve the issue of scholarship question papers as soon as possible to avoid causing injustice to the children. In a discussion with officials from the Ministry of Education today, she stated that an independent report should be prepared immediately regarding the question papers getting leaked.
President Kumara Dissanayake appointed new governors for 9 provinces yesterday, and 4 of these new governors assumed duties today. Governor of the Western Province, Hanif Yusuf, officially assumed duties today at the Western Provincial Office.
I was told, Hanif, let's build up the country, because it doesn't matter if the rich gets richer as they pay taxes, but the poor must not get poorer. When I heard, it made me emotional. From that day onwards, when the president told me to take over the Western Province, I thought to myself if I have enough experience for this position, as I am only a businessman. But I know one thing, and that is how to work with the people. Yesterday, the president told me that we should make a change, that we should stop bribes and corruption. This is certainly not an easy task, but I believe that we could carry it forward. I will definitely make a change and show it to the people. All I need is a plain tea with jaggery. I need nothing else. Let's put an end to corruption.
Kapila Jayasekara, governor of the Uva province, officially assumed duties today.
My position is intended to benefit the people of this province, ensuring that every individual, regardless of whether they are rich or poor, has a right on this position. Therefore, it is my responsibility to protect this position on behalf of the people. It is also my utmost ambition to uplift the Uva province to a better place from its current state.
Meanwhile, governor of the Northwestern province, Sirasa officially assumed duties today at the governor's office in Kurunegala.
When we talk about being a rich country, it doesn't mean we just want to be wealthy. It means that the people should prosper, not only those in state and political power. We should not blindly trust everything regarding corruption or assume that all is well. Everyone working has the power to shape their own history and future. Corruption is an issue that we cannot ignore.
Governor of the Eastern province, Jayanthalal Ratnasekara, also officially assumed duties today.
All Sri Lankans are experiencing a relief and a sense of ease across the country. After President Kumara Dissanayake emerged victorious, this is not a lie. We hope to provide every Sri Lankan a happy and a beautiful life by building a prosperous country from such a relief.
experience the true essence of Jaffna, all in one magnificent hotel.
Welcome back to the news. The Election Commission has released a Gazette notification detailing the number of parliamentarians to be elected from each district at the upcoming parliamentary election.
According to the 2024 electoral list, there has been a change in the number of MPs elected from 4 districts. As per the Gazette notification, the number of MPs to be elected from the Gampaha district this time is 19. In 2020, only 18 MPs were elected from Gampaha, and this time the district will have the highest number of elected MPs. The Colombo district, which had 19 MPs in the previous general election, will elect 18 MPs this time. The number of MPs elected from the Kalathura district has increased to 11, while in the Jaffna district, it has decreased to 6. There has been no change in the number of MPs to be elected from other districts. The Ratnapura district will have 11 MPs and 12 MPs will be elected from the Kandy district. 9 MPs will be elected from the Gaul, Anuradhapura, Badula and Kegol districts, while 8 MPs will be elected from the Nuwara and Putlam districts. 7 MPs will be elected from the Mathura, Digamandula and Hambantota districts as per the Gazette. 6 MPs will be elected from the Wanni and Monaragala districts. According to the Gazette notification, 5 MPs will be elected from the Mathale, Polonnaruwa and Patiklo districts.
The Election Commission held a meeting today to provide information about the preparations for Parliament. The chairman of the Commission said that all the returning officers will arrive in Colombo next Saturday to discuss about the election.
The acceptance of nominations will be conducted under the supervision of the returning officers at the district secretariats. Because of this, a greater portion of the responsibilities during this election will fall on the district secretaries. Currently, officials are already processing postal votes and other related activities at the secretariats. All assistant commissioners, deputy commissioners and returning officers at every district secretariat have been summoned to the office of the Election Commission this Saturday. The purpose of this is to discuss the experiences and challenges encountered during the previous presidential election and to analyze what lessons can be learnt for the upcoming general election. The aim is to ensure a successful election by reviewing and addressing any issues. Discussions are expected to focus on the organization and arrangements for the election. For the 2024 general election, we will be using the same electoral list that was used for the presidential election.
The Executive Council of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party met in Horagolani, Tambua this morning. The meeting was held under the auspices of former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga.
Today marks the 65th anniversary of the passing of SWRT Bandaranaike, the founder of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and former Prime Minister. A memorial took place this morning at the Bandaranaike Memorial in Horagolla, led by former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga. Many other senior members of the SLFP also attended the event along with former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga and other members of the Bandaranaike family. Former Speaker Karu Jayasuriya, former Minister Dr. Susil Premajanta and Professor G.L. Piris were among the guests who attended today's memorial ceremony. After the memorial ceremony of late SWR Bandaranaike, the Executive Committee of the SLFP gathered at a private reception hall in Horagolla. Former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga received a warm welcome during the gathering. A detailed discussion regarding how to contest in the upcoming elections took place during the gathering.
පනස්සයි බණ්ඩාරනායක පෙරළිය උනේ නැත්තම් ජීවිතයකට බලයට එන්න බෑනේ අද. සිංහල කතා කරන ඉංග්‍රීසි කතා නොකරන ගමේ කොල්ලෝ අද කොහොමද බලයට ආවේ? 56 පෙරළිය හන්දා. ගම එතෙන්ට ගියානේ. ඉතින් ඒගොල්ලෝ හොඳට කරනවා නම් අපි සතුටු වෙනවා. අපි අපේ එක ගොඩනගන්න ඕනේ. 56 පණිවිඩය ශක්තිමත් කරන්න ඕනේ.
A memorial was held today near the Bandaranayake statue located at Galface. The event was attended by a number of former parliamentarians including Dayasiri Jayasekara and Tilanga Sumathipala.
තවම මේ පක්ෂයේ තියෙන අර්බුදය විසඳිලා නැහැ. ඉතින් අර්බුදය විසඳෙන තුරු බණ්ඩාරනායක සීමතානන්ගේ ගුණසමරුව අපිට කොහෙත් කරන්න පුළුවන්. නැවත මේ ප්‍රශ්න ටික විසඳ ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ මං හිතන විදියට මේ මැතිවරණය අවසන් වුණායින් පස්සේ. ඒතර මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන මැතිතුමාට ආරාධනාවක් නැද්ද? එතුමා නැද්ද කොහෙද? අපි ආරාධනා කරා. අද එතුමාගේ වෙනත් රාජකාරී කටයුත්තක් තියෙනවා. එතුමා ඒ නිසාද එන්න වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා මට උදේත් කතා කරලා කිව්වා. දැන් මේ ඒතර නාම යෝජනා දෙද්දි ප්‍රශ්නයක් එන්නේ නැද්ද ඉස්සරහට? නෑ කිසිම ගැටලුවක් නෑ. අපි ඒ සම්බන්ධව සාකච්ඡා කරලා අවශ්‍ය පියවර ගන්නවා. අපේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයට අසාධාරණයක් වෙන්න අපි ඉඩ තියන්නේ නැහැ. නාම යෝජනා දෙන්නේ ඔබතුමන්ලා පාර්ශ්වයෙන්ද අනිත් පාර්ශ්වයෙන්ද? නෑ අපි සන්දානයක් විදිහට අපි යන්නේ. සමගි ජනබල සන්දානයේ විදිහට අපි ඡන්දෙට ඉදිරිපත් වෙන්නේ.
දල පින්තාරු වැඩමුළු වහා ප්‍රදර්ශනය. NVQ සහතිකලාභී වෘත්තීය පින්තාරු ශිල්පියෙක් ශිල්පිනියක් වීමට ඔබත් අදම එක්වන්න. විස්තර හා ව්‍යාපදිංචි වීමට අමතන්න 0777 6040. ජැට් පින්තාරු අභිමාන දේශීය දෙව් පින්තාරු කරන්නේ උන්නතිය උදෙසා.
Gammadda, improving lives, elevating communities. Constructing essential bridges that connect villages in Ampara, Dehiyattakondia, in Rithi Maliadda, Badulla. A new bridge will improve daily travel for over 600 residents in Koleyaya and Aldenia. In Mahayangana, another bridge will provide critical access over the Unagala Oya, meeting the needs of local families. Committed to connecting communities and fostering progress across Sri Lanka. Gammadda, Sri Lanka's most impactful rural development movement.
For the people, by the people. Gammadda.
Welcome back to the news. We now turn to the latest update on Sri Lanka's currency and stock market in tonight's edition of the Finance Report.
The Newsfirst Finance Report.
The Sri Lankan rupee has strengthened against the US dollar, with the selling price now at 304.91 rupees and the purchasing price at 295.8 rupees, according to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. The Colombo Stock Exchange saw a slight uptick today, with the all-share price index rising by 0.1%, closing at 11,671 points. The S&P SL20 also experienced gains of 0.5%, reaching 3,384 points.
The Newsfirst Finance Report.
Dr. S. Jaishankar, India's External Affairs Minister, speaking at a forum in the United States, said that India's assistance to Sri Lanka was given without any political conditions, driven by the desire to prevent an economic meltdown in a neighboring country.
Dr. Jaishankar used a very interesting phrase, non-reciprocal aid, in his initial remarks. And that's something India has given lots of unconditional aid to Bangladesh and Sri Lanka in particular, which seems to have not brought benefit. There have been government changes there which seem to be potentially adverse for India. So I'm curious how Dr. Jaishankar thinks about that. And in particular with Bangladesh, there's been lots of very concerning news about the religious minorities, Hindus and Buddhists in Bangladesh. I'm curious how India thinks about its role in protecting those minorities there.
The first question, look, we stepped forward in respect of Sri Lanka when it was facing a very deep economic crisis, and very frankly, when nobody else came forward. And I'm very glad we did it. We did it in a timely manner. We did it on scale. We put out $4.5 billion effectively. And what it did was it stabilized the Sri Lankan economy and the rest of it was up to them. Now, we at the time we did it, it was not that we had a political conditionality which accompanied that. I mean, we were doing it as a good neighbor who did not want to see that kind of economic meltdown at our doorstep. So I think what happens politically in Sri Lanka, that's for their politics to work out. I mean, at the end of the day, each one of our neighbors would have, their own particular dynamics. It's not our intention to, suggest that their dynamics must necessarily, adhere to what we might consider as being better for us. I think this is a real world. I mean, everybody makes their choices, and then countries adjust to each other and find ways of working it out. In the case of Bangladesh, I would say it's a little bit different. What we have done over the last, particularly over the last decade, is to do projects of various kinds which have been good for both of us. That, economic activity overall has picked up, logistics of that region has improved, and I think both countries have gained a lot out of that. So I would urge you not to be deterministic about it. It's not as though India is seeking to control every political move of every neighbor. That's not how it works. It doesn't work not just for us, it doesn't work for anybody else. I mean, every country will have its own dynamics, and in foreign policy, you try to read it, you try to anticipate it, you also respond to it. And I'm very confident at the end of it all, in our neighborhood, the realities of interdependence, of mutual benefit, of the fact that our ability to get along will serve both our interests, those realities will assert themselves. That's been the history. Look over the last few years. I mean, every few years something happens in our region and people suggest that there is some kind of irretrievable situation out there. You then see the correctives beginning to manifest themselves. So I would take it in that spirit, and I'm quite confident that in both these cases, I would expect that our relationship would continue to be positive and constructive.
Pakistan said that it would have to go through transitional pain after the International Monetary Fund agreed to a new relief package of $7 billion to bolster its faltering economy.
The 3-year loan program will require sound policies and reforms to support Pakistan's ongoing efforts to strengthen its economy and create conditions for a stronger, more inclusive and resilient growth. Although the South Asian nation's economy has stabilized since it came close to defaulting last summer, it is dependent on IMF bailouts and loans from friendly countries to service its huge debt, which swallows up half of its annual revenues. Pakistan in July agreed to the deal, its 24th IMF payout since 1958, in exchange for unpopular reforms, including cutting back on power subsidies and widening its chronically low tax base. Speaking on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly in New York yesterday, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said the deal came through thanks to the tremendous support of Saudi Arabia, China and the UAE. Day 1 of the 17th International Research Conference of the General John Kotalawala Defence University was held in Ratmalana today.
Kotalawala Defence University's 17th International Research Conference, held under the theme Unravailing the Paradigm Shift, Revolutions in the Era of AI, was held in Ratmalana today. The event was attended by the Chancellor of KDU, retired General SHS Kotegoda, as the chief guest, Commander of the Navy Vice Admiral Priyantha Pereira, Commander of the Air Force Air Marshal Udeni Rajapaksa, and a group of senior security officers. Professor Tissa Vijayratna, the Chair of Department of Neurology at the Western Health Clinical School, University of Melbourne, was the keynote speaker of the event.
We find ourselves at a critical juncture in human history. The era we live in is marked by rapid technological advancements, and at the heart of this evolution stands artificial intelligence, a force that is representing, reshaping the very foundation of how we live, learn, work and think. This revolution is not a distant concept of the future. It is already here, altering industries, economies and societies in ways we could have scarcely imagined even a decade ago.
So low to middle income countries suffer the biggest burden of neurological disorders that is going to cause more chaos than what you see as chaos. The impact of this is going to be much higher than the impact of the grocery bill that you are probably reluctant to pay. And here with this slide I'm telling you that 1 in 3 of us are having a preventable brain disorder. Unless we do something about it, we are doomed as a species. Not as an ethnic group or religious group, as a species. That's why we are promoting at global arena that we are in trouble. We can prevent these disorders. We need to work together to prevent brain disorders impacting us and promote brain health across lifespan.
The second day of the International Research Conference will be held at the university premises tomorrow.
The second test match between Sri Lanka and New Zealand began at the Galle International Cricket Stadium. Kamidou Mendes set a new world record by the end of play for the day today. Sri Lanka currently leads the test match series against New Zealand after having won the first match by 63 runs.
Sri Lankan skipper Dhananjaya De Silva won the toss and decided to bat first. Spinner Nishan Perez debuted for Sri Lanka in his test cricket. While the Sri Lankan first wicket partnership was limited to 2 runs, Pathum Nissanka was bowled out for just 1 run. Dinesh Chandimal and Dimuth Karunaratne managed to build a partnership of 122 runs for the second wicket. Dimuth Karunaratne managed to score 46 runs. Dinesh Chandimal scored his 15th test century today, finishing with a total of 116 runs to his name, which he achieved with 15 boundaries.
Down the back, and Dinesh Chandimal brings up his 15th and making sure he gets his first 100 against New Zealand and 6th in goal.
Angelo Matthews was 78 not out, marking his 44th test half century today. At the end of the first day, Sri Lanka managed to score 306 runs for the loss of 3 wickets. Kamidou Mendes entered the record books today for securing the most half centuries since his test debut, achieving this title in 8 matches.
And that's a wrap for Primetime News on TV1 for tonight.
Thank you very much for watching. Good night.